You may have heard the idea of making a deal with the devil or selling your soul, but what does this mean? Is it merely a metaphor, or is it something someone can literally do? And who is the devil? Is he a real entity with horns, or a symbolic representation of something else? The idea of selling your soul was popularized by the tragedy Dr. Faustus. In the play, a man who is dissatisfied with life offers his soul to Lucifer in exchange for magical powers. Some say actual demons once appeared on stage during a performance, driving spectators mad. Some scholars claim Dr. Faustus was based on the real-life mathematician and inventor John Dee. While he was undoubtedly a genius, he ruined his reputation among the scientific community when he claimed he figured out how to contact spirits. John Dee's magical research would later inspire Jack Parsons, a rocket scientist and co-founder of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, to attempt contact with spirits as well. So while the idea of magic and demons may sound like fiction, many intelligent people take it seriously. Philosopher Manly P. Hall once wrote, "It is possible to make contracts with spirits whereby the magician becomes the master of an elemental being." True black magic is performed with the aid of a demonic spirit who serves the magician for the length of his earthly life. Is it possible then that some illusionists are actually using black magic? While many of them are unquestionably very talented, some tricks certain illusionists perform seem impossible to do without supernatural aid. Some illusionists even admit to having help. For example, you might remember Mike Super, the mystifier from America's Got Talent. He claimed he was only able to perform such amazing tricks because of his spirit companion, Desmond.
I am a mystifier. I don't like when people call me a magician because I'm not using a deck of cards. I'm not using a big box on stage. I like to get into people's minds and also involve the spirit world a little bit, which freaks people out. It's great.
What kind of tricks are you going to do?
Oh my God, don't think I'm crazy at the end of this. I'm doing a thing with a spirit tonight, so, and hopefully it works. In my childhood, I had a supernatural spirit attached to me. His name is Desmond.
But could a spirit help you with other abilities? Some musicians claim that when they start performing, something else takes them over. Many of them also make claims of having made a deal with the devil in exchange for fortune and fame. One of the first musicians to say they sold their soul was Giuseppe Tartini, who wrote the famous Devil's Trill Sonata after having a dream about the devil. Later, Niccolo Pagani, arguably one of the best violinists to ever play, would be accused of the same thing. Eventually, the deal with the devil motif made its way into blues music. Robert Johnson, one of the most prolific artists of the genre, sang about selling his soul at a crossroads right before midnight. Before this supposed event, he was notoriously terrible at playing guitar. Jazz singers like Sammy Davis Jr. and Frank Sinatra were also known members of the Church of Satan. Even Elvis Presley, once a gospel-singing church-goer, was said to be obsessed with strange spiritual teachings toward the end of his life. Elvis helped pave the way for rock and roll, which soon became known as the devil's music. Is it possible all these artists were really getting help from demonic spirits? Bob Dylan has been quoted saying, "He only got where he is today because of a bargain he made a long time ago."
Out here doing these songs, you're still on tour.
I do, but I don't take it for granted.
Why do you still do it? Why are you still out here?
Well, it goes back to the destiny thing. I made a bargain with it, a long time ago, and I'm holding up my hand.
What was your bargain?
To get where I am now.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with the chief commander.
On this earth?
And on this earth, and then in the world we can't see.
Led Zeppelin claimed their famous song Stairway to Heaven was a product of automatic writing, the supposed telepathic ability of producing words without consciously writing. Jimmy Page, the guitarist, was a follower of Aleister Crowley, another man inspired by John Dee. The Beatles were also inspired by Crowley, who was said to be the wickedest man in the world. There are many strange conspiracies surrounding the Beatles, one of them being that Paul was killed in 1966 and replaced with a look-alike. And if you haven't seen Still Alive Episode 2, Fall of the Cabal, once you do, you'll know everything there is about it. Many musicians today make similar claims and are the subject of similar conspiracy theories. Katy Perry has said during an interview that she
sold my soul to the devil.
And like Paul, many musicians are also rumored to have been replaced by lookalikes or even clones.
Now, all our consciousness, they can transfer consciousness from one body to a clone, and whatever happens to that clone will have an effect on us. So, and that goes with, we actually transfer consciousness to people in our lives all the time, especially in childhood. We pick up other people's consciousness and we give our consciousness away, so it affects us, affects our life, what happens to that person. Not so dramatically with a clone, but it does affect, because we'll pick up the other person's feelings and everything like that. I saw that the leading country in clone manufacturing is Japan, and they had actually created like this village. There's been not a documentary, but there's been like a drama thing about this. But I saw them create a village, and the rich would come and they would go into this village, and it was full of clones, and they could do what they wanted with these clones. And that got taken down because one of the clones, most of them were prostitutes, yeah. One of the clones actually malfunctioned at the time of giving oral sex to a very rich man and amputated his penis. So the whole place got shut down because of that. Ouch. But there seems to be two different types of clones. One that's run on the machines, and one that is actually run on, also has the other person's consciousness in. Now, other people can agree to being abstracted, their consciousness being abstracted, and there seems to be only one machine here that does it that way. It's mostly run on like computers, but so the rich, very rich people sell their consciousness, and they make so much money out of this. So selling their souls, they literally sell their souls.
Are these musicians being helped by demons, or is something more sinister going on? What exactly does a deal with the devil entail? When an artist signs a contract that gives a label the right to a person's image, does that give them the right to recreate it even if they're dead? What happens if an artist no longer wants to comply? Are they simply sacrificed and replaced? Perhaps this is a last resort, and there are other ways to keep them under control. We know some artists are heavily medicated to keep them docile because of the Free Britney movement. But what if medication is not enough? Lady Gaga, Nicki Minaj, Beyonce, and countless others claim they have alter egos that take over when they perform. Perhaps these are not spirits, but symptoms of MKUltra programming. Perhaps these two things are one and the same.
You need to remind yourself that you need to focus and try not to let stuff bother you as much as possible. But it is going to bother you because you're human, and I was human. I am human, still.
MKUltra was a program carried out by the CIA in order to develop methods of mind control using psychoactive drugs, electroshock, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, isolation, sexual abuse, and even torture. Some say black magic and witchcraft were also methods they explored. Perhaps when a person's psyche is shattered, spirits can more easily control an individual. There are many instances of celebrities glitching out where their alters take over or their programming seems to fail. These same celebrities heavily promote MKUltra symbolism. MKUltra symbolism includes covering one eye, flashing the pyramid hand sign, and even butterflies. The symbols serve to show who their puppet masters are. The butterfly represents Project Monarch, an offshoot of MKUltra and the metamorphosis one undergoes during mind control. It seems some celebrities are too strong-willed to succumb to heavy medication and mind control. People like Michael Jackson and Prince were calling out the evil of the music industry and even the world right before their untimely deaths. At one point, Prince went to war with Warner and wrote "slave" on his face. Then, at the age of 57, he died in an elevator on his estate. Ironically, he released a song about living it up called "Let's Go Crazy." In the song, he mentions how he won't let the elevator bring him down.
Some of my earlier work, if people want to say that it's better, Dearly Beloved, "Let's Go Crazy" was about God and Satan. I had to change those words up. The elevator was Satan in that song. I had to change those words up because you couldn't say God on the radio. And "Let's Go Crazy" was God to me. It was, stay happy, stay focused, and you can beat the elevator.
Kanye West, another artist who claims to have sold his soul, seems to be another case of someone who feels cheated and is no longer willing to keep up their end of the deal. It seems his meltdowns are symptoms of failed programming. Whether it's MKUltra, being possessed by demons, or simply signing your will away to protect your family, we are seeing madness in today's world. Conor McGregor is urging and squealing for a new world order.
I want to say that while we are all currently debating a full lockdown, I feel that we must. Any time spent debating this is needless time from the clock. I know a good tough fight when I see one, and we have one on our hands now.
Ron DeSantis is pushing the vaccine all of a sudden.
And we've been very honest about any data that comes out. And I can tell you that if you look, you are seeing people that are vaccinated. For whatever reason, some I think can test positive if you're vaccinated. But they don't get seriously ill, except maybe rare instances. There's always one-offs on stuff. But I can tell you in Florida, your chance of surviving if you're vaccinated is close to 100%. And so we've worked very hard to get those vaccines into all our elderly communities and give it to other folks who could use it.
And the Delta variant is an obvious invention to get sheep angry at lions. The lions aren't weak. There's no space for Satan where we roam. It's imperative to know how the devil sneaks into our world. Through cracks of temptation, even good men find themselves in contracts they can't get out of. Satan is sneaky, but he is also a coward. The frequency of Satan is seen throughout the entire mainstream media and in the core of our world stage. Greedy, needy, reptilian, draconian entities have feasted long enough. Their time here is over. Hey Satan, it's us, the light. We'd invite you to come out and play, but it seems you're already dead.